The bridge again. I remember you see here's the outside of the bridge, and you're gonna see certain things up there. This bridge does have a secret and whatnot. Back in 1980s and 1990, while they were building this bridge, and whatnot, they didn't. Honestly, they didn't really have to, but they wanted it out there a little bit more because right down here, the water would build up and go down to that place down there. And as a concern for someone from another country, I just didn't want the water to build up between that and the road, shut down the road, and then hit the electrical box down there. And they were like, well, how would that happen? Well, this whole river floods to the top, and it's still possible to flood to the top if it hasn't already. Because if you look at old pictures, there was a dam, like a small dam here before, and it was half the size of this one and whatnot, and that wasn't even Angus or Delia Ray's Angus. The one flood that hit Williamsport. You ever notice they say Angus when they say that flood? Angus flood. It's not a cow flood. All right, so it's not Angus, and they have a weird name for it, and it's a female name. That's what I don't get. So it can't be called that. And that's going to have a change in the past, because you can't name it after a female. But anyway, this bridge does have a secret, and the secret of it is one of the things people may or may not be able to understand about this bridge is that a lot of wiring came from a certain company, better known as AFCO Lycoming, where a few different instances happened with different people who were responsible for the company as far as the business side and making sure that the business happened, to where it was quote unquote said that Textron Lycoming actually had quite a few murders in it, namely 14 or better. So that's one company that's been repeatedly told through the years by corporate, by AFCO, by Textron, that it needs to shut down, even though Textron, I don't think Textron actually told them. So Textron needs to shut down its AFCO building. But anyway, some of the wirings they had in there had blood on them. They cleaned up the wiring, and just so the wiring didn't get back to any of the people that used them, because they were scheduled to get out of jail, they concreted the evidence into the bridge. So made proper use of it in the sense of keeping it from people, because with people down at the forge, it was causing problems. Anyway, back to the conversation about what this was before. Before this, some like to speculate this is a huge city, fortress of sorts. Not really. It's interesting, but it's a town that has had a lot of foreign money put into it. Not a lot of locals. A lot of locals were fucking poor as hell. So at that point in time, and they're about to get even poorer. So for stealing money. Let's see. I think that's about all I'm gonna say on this one. But I mean, it's definitely interesting. I don't know, something about this town causes a lot of people to stand back and take a look at what the heck went on here. So I do know there was people throwing people in the river. That's on police reports. People being tossed off bridges, thrown into water. That was before the dam was put in, and drowning and stuff. As far as the logging town part, that's very minimal. It was made a logging town to take out a few trees, a few acres, to keep people from wanting to go out west. So where the real logging was going on. But it's definitely had its minimal share of murder. So, actually, I think murder might have outranked the freaking logging that was done, but it's definitely had its really crappy points. I keep telling people it's better to move elsewhere than stay here because, I mean, when you start looking at the map in Williamsport, it takes you too long to get to Hazleton, Scranton, and Philly. If you go the other way, take even longer. So it's just a town that has left a lot of bad things in people's minds. The only town that has actually lost 27, actually I should say county, 27 different industries in less than a week, less than 2 weeks. That were very, very profitable, that were brought in by foreigners, that were taken and shipped back over to where it belongs. It's definitely, in a lot of different ways, kind of told people, whether foreigners or not, because everyone here is a foreigner, whether they like it or not. You're not local here. It's left a lot of bad taste in a lot of people's mouths as far as professionalism. Technically, Pennsylvania College of Technology, Williamsport, wasn't supposed to be put in Williamsport. It was supposed to actually go to Selinsgrove and whatnot, down around that area, and mainly because it had better access to more facilities that were being not put up for sale but put up for use and whatnot by people. So it was just overall a better idea. Milton, Selinsgrove, and all the way down to Harrisburg from Williamsport has seen better growth in Williamsport because of the fact that Williamsport, I don't want to say it's a snug little town or a smug little town, but it's definitely sent a lot of big businesses elsewhere, and they claim pollution, except you got shot back down here, which is a major contributor to pulling water out of the creek and shoving metal waters possibly back into the creek, which ain't good for you either, metallized water. I think the only way that you can actually run injection molding machines here is if you run the water in and you have the water out in 72 hours back into the river, which causes a huge water bill, but at the same time it doesn't allow the water to metallize by being heated up. So, and that's the only real legal way to do that. But that's it for this one.